Welcome to Roland's Travels. Today I'm at Sherborne Old Castle. Sherborne's a little town that lies in Dorset, not too far from the Somerset border. So we're starting off our tour in Castleton Road. I've parked my car there. There is some parking within the castle grounds, and as you can see, this is English heritage property and the car parking is fairly small, but if you can get in there, it's great. If not, it's free parking in Castleton Road. So let's take a walk up the driveway and take a look at this fine ruins of a very old castle. So the first thing we come to is the information board. So we'll take a look at that, tell you a little bit about the castle. Originally this castle was a fortified bishop's palace belonging to Roger de Ken, Bishop of Salisbury, who built it. He was one of the most powerful men of his time. He served Henry I as his chancellor, and he also stood in as governor for England when Henry was abroad in Normandy. What went wrong with the bishop? Well, he made an error that after Henry's death, he supported Empress Matilda in her bid to claim the crown. King Stephen then seized the castle and all the bishop's estates. So we're now crossing the moat into the gatehouse, which is still in not bad condition, as you can see. The castle was destroyed during the Civil War, but we'll come on to that in a little while. Here's one of the gatehouse places to be on guard. So we'll take a swing and look around at the wall and the open green area. It's open green now, of course. It would have been castle courtyards with all sorts of buildings in here at the time it was in full use. So a lovely gorgeous day today. This information board gives us, as a visitor, more information about the King's man, Bishop Roger. So let's look back at the gateway now that we've just come through. You see, not bad condition, and out of what's left, it's probably one of the better sections that is left of the castle. There's another view from the side, along with the castle wall and the moat below. We're going to take a walk around the moat a little bit later. So this is the Great Tower, what's left of it, along with the chapels, which are just the far side of the Great Tower. So there's the information board on that. Again, as you go around these English heritage properties, you do get the nice information boards to explain things. In the distance there is the new castle. In fact, there's a marquee. Sherborne New Castle's got an event that weekend coming up. And again, fine old ruins. Beautiful against the blue sky, isn't it? It's a great day to have a walk around and get good views. Obviously, castles tend to be high on hills, so when you get to the edge of the castles, you get a nice view over the area. We're now approaching the ruins of the northeast gatehouse and courtyard. Now the courtyard would be where many of the tradespeople and others that served the castle would have lived outside of the main walls. So again, without fail, we have an information board that tells the visitors a little bit about this area, as you can see. So let's take a look at where this path would have led, across the moat and out into that outer courtyard. Move on now to the kitchen area and the well. Every castle needed food and water particularly in a siege would be essential. Now of course, being high on a hill, there's no stream or river at the top, and if the gates were closed, you're going to have to find a way to bring in water. So of course the castle had its own well, and here is that very well we can look at today. So we're now standing in the area of the Great Hall. A Great Hall was a place where great festivities could be held, the owner of the castle, or in cases of manor houses, they too would have a great hall where the wealth of the owner could be displayed, and their generosity in providing a grand meal and entertainment for the guests. This small area is the inner courtyard, a private place where people get away from the hustle and bustle and activities of the castle and enjoy a little quiet time with either on their own or with a few friends. This area was that inner courtyard, which is now grassed over. It was in 1592 that it was leased to Sir Walter Raleigh. He began a programme of modernisation, trying to turn it into a comfortable residence, but it proved far too expensive for him, and that's why he moved to what has now become Sherborne New Castle. Let's just walk through these lovely corridors here. They're nice, aren't they? You get a feel for what the place was like, even though there is little of the actual structure in the way of rooms remaining. Come to a lovely old column here. It's always fascinating walking around these places. Think of the people who have walked around here, whether it's Sir Walter Raleigh, call him Raleigh or Raleigh or Raleigh, or however you want to say it. There is great debate over that. His signature, though, would indicate he was Raleigh, at one time possibly having a W in it, R-A-W-L-E-Y, or R-A-L-E-G-H, or the EI version that is used today, R-A-L-E-I-G-H, has never been proven to be used by him at all. More in connection with the bicycle company, actually, if anything, from Nottingham, the good old Raleigh Bicycle Company. Hence, by many people call him Sir Walter Raleigh, but it's more like Raleigh. It would have been his name. An interesting chap, we know, very much an explorer in his day. It was in his later years that he was more in this area of Dorset. So again, just looking through around all the nooks and crannies of the castle to give you a little tour. You will be able to see a follow-up video as we go to the new castle, and we'll look more about Sir Walter there and what's gone on in the family that currently own the castle, who still live in the new castle as well. So that's going to be an interesting video for you. Beautiful grounds, and I'll be bringing that video out as soon as we can. So it may well be out by the time you're watching this video. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, of course, do give it a thumbs up as well. It always helps to find more viewers when you do that. So again, beautiful scenes on this lovely day. And we will take a walk around the moat as well for you shortly. So this section of the ruins is the double chapel, one chapel on top of the other. And the information board tells us, and you're welcome to pause of course while you read it, but it tells us that this would have been Bishop Roger's private chapel, more than likely anyways, private chapel, which would have been on the first floor above the chapel below. Yeah, spanning both ends of the chapel as we look around it and take a look at those walls, standing after all these hundreds of years after being bombarded by cannon as well during the Civil War, when this castle fell to Oliver Cromwell. We're coming now to an area where an additional courtyard was built, but these are the remains. Particularly one section of those remains was the garderobe, a tower which effectively was the toilet. All the excrement would have to drop down to the bottom of the tower, where some unfortunate souls would spend their time cleaning it out. Oh, aren't we so glad for flushing toilets these days? So let's go down these steps and walk around the moat. This is the moat walk, so if you don't mind doing a few steps, you can follow these steps downwards all the way down to the bottom of the moat. Back in the days of this castle, back there, all those 800 years or so ago, that area there would have been water, because it appears there was a jetty. That's where fish could be caught, so that's all been drained now and is farmland. But a lovely area, and of course the moat would have been full of water, no doubt, rather than a dry ditch. So let's go down these steps and I'll give you a little tour just around the section of the moat. Just see the edge of Sherborne in the distance on the horizon on the left side of the video there. And it's amazing how thick these walls had to be. And of course, apart from war, they have stood the test of time. And of course, Cromwell made sure no one was going to live in it afterwards. So we've reached the bottom now. We're on the moat. And I dare say that this moat one time was deeper still. That you get the vegetation falls in and builds up. That's the flight of steps looking back up. So let's take a walk around this moated area. English heritage do mow it so that you've got a nice footpath around, which is a nice touch really, to be able to do this and to walk around, listen to the bird song, see the wildflowers as you go through. Now, during July and August, do keep an eye out for a flower called Lady Betty's Pinks. They flower in the grounds during those months, and they are locally named after Sir Walter Raleigh's wife, Elizabeth. Now we're approaching the footbridge that I initially crossed to enter the castle, and the gateway there on the top of the mound. There are some works going on, so scaffolding is supporting the bridge at the moment. We can also see the original piers that were here for the bridge back in the 12th century. So this work will take place when the castle is closed. So at the moment there are just some scaffolding to be aware of, and they're keeping the current bridge propped up whilst the season is open. But they're the original piers underneath there, as you can see, which they discovered. So we'll continue our walk along the moat just to reach the end of it. It's not too steep to get out, it just climbs gently. As I say, a lot of this would have been filled over the years. Just take a look back at the gatehouse from this angle. That imposing wall. Imagine trying to get up there and over that wall with arrows and boiling oil or whatever they could throw down on you would come. Again, lots of wildflowers to look out for in the moat. And I'm just peering through a gate now into the Newcastle grounds. So we're going to go to the Sherborne Newcastle after this trip, and we're just going to walk back up from the moat to the castle before I end this video. So thank you for joining me. It's been great. Do stay tuned for the next video, which will be Sherborne Newcastle, and I'm sure you'll enjoy that. Some beautiful gardens and a lake there, and we're going to take a whole look at that in a future video. So become a subscriber if you're not already, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye for now.